it can be so beautiful and such like a nice kind of reference of like, okay, like this version of me is dying, this version of me is like, and if people don't want to say like use the word death or dying, you can just say this version of me is now being released, this version of me is now
Mhm.
transforming. Like if you wanted to change the word just because like someone can't get past death, like you can just say like I'm just transforming, I'm just becoming.
Mhm.
Becoming is a great word. I love to use the word embody. I'm just embodying this new version. I'm embodying this reality that I want to live in. I'm embodying the version of me that's in this reality that I desire. I'm embodying her and releasing the old version of me. I love using those kind of references. And I also, so speaking, this is on my mind as well right now, speaking about like letting ourselves release, letting ourselves to kind of like rest and take our foot off the gas and things like that. I want to talk about like setting boundaries too, because when we're in this and like a little bit of the dark feminine, I would love to talk about. And
Mhm.
so thinking about like when you're in that relax, like taking a pause, going with the flow, foot off the gas, and suddenly you're getting asked like these opportunities or like just like, oh, let's go out and party or like let's do this and like let's do this work opportunity. Like there's still the balance of like, okay, setting boundaries of is this going to benefit me right now, physically and mentally, or am I not up for it right now? Like my energy can't fully do it right now. So should I reschedule? And it's just bringing that awareness of what is truly going to benefit you. If you're going to like do this thing and it's super challenging for you physically or emotionally right now, like, is it really best for you? And should I maybe reschedule? Should I maybe say no to this thing that actually isn't going to serve me? Am I people pleasing? Like what is going to be the consequence or the aftermath of me making this choice, me doing this action, making this decision. You know what I mean? And so I'd love to talk
Mhm.
a little bit about like the dark feminine and setting the boundaries, especially when you're in that like softer living phase of being in your feminine energy and just allowing yourself to be and flow.
Mhm. Mm.
You
This is
said I got a
also
lot to say.
also my bread and butter. Oh my goodness. Yeah, boundaries are huge. We as women are so conditioned to not have boundaries. We are so conditioned to always be everything for everybody else and to please everybody else and make everybody else happy before ourselves. And that is not healthy. That is not good. Obviously, yes, there are things that we have to do. We have to show up in certain ways. And especially, like, I always think about moms. Like, moms show up so fucking much. And I'm like, I just
Yep.
admire the shit out of them. And yeah, I mean, boundaries, like, it's interesting because you mentioned even people who are like, "Oh, like, let's go out and party," and sometimes on this path, like, you start to move away from those things. You start to transform and, like, find different ways to spend your time, and I want to point out that, like, sometimes this path of setting boundaries and honoring your boundaries and upholding your boundaries might cause you to lose people in your life. Like, it is a thing that happens. You might change friend groups, you might lose friends. Like, there might be people in your life who just don't get it, but that's not a reason to not uphold your boundaries because then you're just falling back into people pleasing. I have been through a couple of different friendship breakups, honestly, recently, and it was something that I just felt like my boundaries were not honored. And I have become so firm and strong in my boundaries over the last couple of years. And it's something that has helped my health significantly. And it's something that I had to do for my health. Like, I was dealing with multiple different health issues. There were things that I couldn't do. There were times that I could not show up for other people. And I just had to be with myself and be there for myself. And people didn't get that. They didn't understand that. And they like, wanted more of my energy than I could give them, and I think that that's another really big aspect of the feminine path too, is, like, recognizing your energy and your energetic boundaries and recognizing like who is filling you up and who is draining you. And you start to really, really recognize that on this path. And that's where the discomfort comes in because it's not comfortable. Like it sucks. It sucks so bad to have people be upset at you or to just like feel like you're rubbing somebody the wrong way or whatever. Like that's not always the most comfortable feeling. But your boundaries matter more than somebody else's comfort. Um, and yeah, it's a really, really big thing and a really difficult thing. And I think like knowing that it takes time to be able to, like, build that up too. You're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, "Okay, I'm so firm and solid in my boundaries, like, nobody's getting access to me today, like, this feels so good." It doesn't work like that, and it's actually in my membership, there's one, woman in particular who has been moving through this a lot, and she's been building up her boundaries with her own clients that she works with, and she sent a message the other day and she was like, "I'm noticing that I'm getting better at this, like slowly but surely. And there's still moments where it's difficult for me to express my boundaries, to like vocalize them, but I'm doing it better than I did 3 months ago." So just knowing that it's a process too. And like, again, honoring yourself and what your body is telling you is so revolutionary as a woman because we as women have been taught for generations. And this lives in our bodies, not only from our own experiences, but from our mom, our grandma, our great grandma, and so on. Women have been taught to override their body and to, again, be that people pleaser and be everything for everybody. And we're starting to get past that, which is so beautiful, but just, like, knowing that it's okay if it's hard, like, it's supposed to be sometimes, um, but knowing that it is really, really revolutionary and, like, it will truly shift things in your life because that's you then owning your like, your energy and your boundaries and just, like, standing firm in that, and that's like a magnetic frequency, and that's where we get into the, like, receptivity of the feminine. That is when the feminine becomes receptive, and magnetic is when she is, like, solid and firm in her own energy and in her own boundaries. Like, if you are passive and soft and people pleaser and this and that, like, that's not magnetic at all. It's the dark feminine that is highly magnetic, and that is where you start to, like, really attract in all of the things that you desire.
It's so insanely powerful to just, like, step into being one with yourself. I've said this on the podcast multiple times, and I have a wallpaper on my iPad. It says, "Stay aligned in your energy and let people meet you there." And that is just so powerful. And that's where that, like you were saying, that magnetic energy comes in because you're just being yourself. You're being authentic to you.
Right.
You're being true to you in whatever season that you are in. And when you are truly being yourself and authentic to you and listening, like embodying who you like desire to be really and embody that energy, you become so one, you become so magnetic, you become so energetically aligned. And like the universe, I feel like will start bringing to you what aligns with you even more as well. Like you get more of what you want from the universe when you step into your power, when you step into yourself. I want to say when you step
Mhm.
into yourself, because that's when you find your power, is when you step into yourself first, and then you find that power within, you know? And then that's when you start
Mhm.
realizing like all of this energy and like you start getting good luck more often and things like these opportunities start coming to you and it's because you're so aligned in your energy. The universe is like showing you how aligned you are in your energy, you know what I mean? Like I've had so many
Mhm.
times where I'm so aligned in myself, and then things start coming in. It's like that idea of like loving yourself first and being so one and okay with yourself, and then suddenly the man comes into your life. You know what I mean? And it's like
Mhm.
that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I actually hope no man comes into my life right now because I'm so happy. I'm like, I don't need somebody, some like dumb boy
Don't
coming to
ruin
ruining
this.
it. LOL. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like being one with yourself, and then everything else will start like you'll be magnetic, you'll draw in all this good energy because you're so one in yourself. And when we
Mhm.
frame away from being one with ourselves, like things don't make as much sense and things can be confusing because we're not aligning with like the like career that we're doing, the people that we're with, the hobbies that we're like doing, just wherever we're putting our attention and energy. If it's not if we're not aligned with it, we're gonna feel that in confusion, in frustration, in annoyance, in sadness, and feeling stuck because we are like not aligning with our true self. And so it's like taking that moment to come back to yourself like, do I really enjoy this? Do I really feel good being with this person, hanging out with these people, doing this career? Like, having these hobbies, putting my attention here, am I really enjoying that? Is it benefiting me in a way that I want that I is good for me? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so it's just acknowledging that and building that awareness of like, okay, I'm not really aligned with this. And like what you once aligned with, like you may not always be aligned with that too. Like things can always change, like the death and rebirth. Like things
Mhm.
can always change. And like, you know what? I don't align with this anymore. Let me like change my path. Let that old version of me like kind of die off and then move forward to this new version, this new path, this rebirth.
Mhm. Mm. I love that you mentioned that you don't want a man to come into your life because you're just, like, feeling so good and you don't, like, want that to be shaken up, which
It's, like,
is
not totally serious, like, I wouldn't
right,
mind, but I
but
think he'll come in when the time is right.
1000%, and I do think that that's such a beautiful point, though, and I love that, like, you have that confidence around it and that you like feel so good and sturdy in yourself because so many women hold the belief that like they need a man to complete them, that they need a partner to complete them. And I'm gonna be the one to tell everybody that that just is not the case, and even
I
if you, like, attract the partner in and you're still in that energy of, like, not fully loving yourself, you're gonna work through it either in that relationship, by yourself, or in the next one, like, you have
Mhm.
to work through that, like, myself, my fiancé and I started dating almost 6 years ago, and I was in that energy of, like, not loving myself, trying to find external validation, trying to source that love outside of myself, and I've spent years working through it in our relationship, which is so beautiful, and it can happen that way, but I think that the point is, like, no matter how loving and, like, incredible your partner is, like, my partner has loved the shit out of me, like, he is so
Aw.
incredible, but I needed to find that within myself in order to even be happy in our relationship, like, I was just struggling so much because I didn't have that love for myself, and, like, he could give me all the love in the world, but if I didn't fill that hole within myself for myself, he couldn't do it for me, so I feel
Mm.
like that's a really good, just point to chat about and just to like remind women that the love that you are seeking exists within you to find. And that stability, that safety, that security, that all exists within you. And that again is this like feminine embodiment journey of finding that and sourcing that from within. I feel like you said something else that I wanted to respond to, but I can't think of it now.
Was it about, like, the death again? Because I also mentioned about, like,
Oh,
changing paths
yeah,
and, like,
yeah. You were kind of talking about like just that like frustration and discomfort and all of that coming up like when we're not aligned with things in our life, and I wanted to point out another phase in the menstrual cycle, the luteal phase, because a lot of women struggle in this phase. It is difficult. A lot of heavy emotions come up. And that is what the luteal phase is for. That is when our body brings everything to the surface to be essentially like evaluated. And so if you're feeling incredibly angry or irritable or frustrated or whatever during your luteal phase, that's time for you to again sit with that and be like, okay, what in my life needs to shift? Like, what is causing this frustration and what needs to shift? And a lot of women experience this with their partners in their relationships. This is something that I have also experienced as well. And we as women, like, and the power of the feminine is we're able to pinpoint those things that need to go, that need to be released, that need to die. And again, that is what is happening during your luteal phase. So I want to point out that, like, if you experience this during your luteal phase with your partner, if you, like, feel unaligned about something in your relationship, like, that is your chance to speak up about it. That's your time to speak up and try to shift things. Um, because if you stay quiet, I mean, just like we've been talking about, it's just gonna stay in your body. It's gonna stay in your body. You're gonna continue to be frustrated and angry and irritable. And again, that is the aspect of the feminine that is just shoved down or ignored, is that uncomfortableness, that discomfort.
Mhm.
Um, and so just acknowledging that. But yeah, I mean, when you are like in your authentic energy, when you are upholding your boundaries, when you are expressing yourself authentically, like you said, that's when things start to come in for you. That's when you're magnetic. That's when the universe is like, okay, here you go. Like, here you go, because it's a reflection of that. And we can't expect the things that we desire and the things that are meant for us to come in when we're not being us, when we're not being
Mhm.
authentic and true to ourselves.
Yeah, I love that last point that you made. And then I was also thinking about, like, for a second, the chakras. I fuck with the chakras so hard. And it's funny because I've built such a strong awareness of this, like, mind body connection that I have of noticing, like, when my throat is feeling more scratchy or, like, my just, like, nose, throat area is, like, very clogged, or maybe I have, like, a canker sore or something, or my nose is super stuffy, or I have a cough, I wake up with a dry throat, like, whatever it is, like a sore throat. I notice, like, at that same time when I bring awareness to, like, okay, like, what's going on emotionally, like, in my head, like, what's going on within me, that maybe my, like, throat chakra is clogged. And more often than not, I've noticed that it's like I have something I need to communicate, or I have something that I need to either communicate, like, with somebody else or write out in my journal, like, just for me to kind of hold, or even speak about in therapy. I'll notice there's just something I need to communicate. There's something I need to let out vocally or, like, written in my journal.
Mhm.
And I notice that now. And so I'll, like, genuinely draw that, like, intentional awareness of, like, okay, like, my throat is feeling a little off recently. Like, I think I need to be communicating something right now. And that was just like, you just, when you were talking about, like, communicating and, like, things like that, just made me think about that example from my life. And I've noticed that through all areas of my chakras. And so I'll do, like, yoga flows focusing on that specific chakra, or, like, little guided meditations, like 5-10 minutes
Mm.
before bed, focusing on that chakra. Even little, like, mudras, yeah, with, like, your hand,
Mhm.
mudras.
Mudra, yeah.
That, like, that's, like, how you, like, place your hands and where, like, your fingertip meets your, like, thumb, or, like, wherever, like, whatnot, and just focusing on that and allowing myself to breathe into that area and, like, notice, bring that, like, connection, that embodied feeling of, like, okay, like, she needs a little attention right there, and giving that to myself. So, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
gonna mention the chakras sometimes because you made me think about the chakras for some reason. And
I
I
love
love
that.
the fact.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point too with the throat. And I mean, us as women, I do intuitive energy work, so very familiar with the chakras.
Mhm.
And a lot of us carry a lot in our throat because, again, like we, as young girls, like we're taught to not speak up. Like that is just a thing. But then again, if we think about the women who came before us and some of that like ancestral stuff that lives there, there's a lot. There's a lot that lives there. And like the women who came before us, I mean, we are so lucky to be able to, like us even sitting here having a podcast talking about feminine energy and the dark feminine, like that is so liberating. And like women couldn't do this for generations. Like women literally were burned at the stake for doing things like this. And so we hold a lot in our throats. And like that's why it's so important to use your voice. And like you said, whether it's even just speaking out loud or writing things down or screaming. Like the other night with the full moon, I was like, I think I need to drive up to the mountains and scream in the woods. Like I just need to let it rip in the
As
woods
you
because
literally
what is
should. Did you
this?
do it?
No, I think I'm gonna go up Saturday.
That
I
was
just haven't
wrong.
had a
That's so funny.
chance to get up there, but
That's so funny. No, I totally get, literally, speaking of screaming, actually, literally on today's Thursday, on Tuesday, I was just like pretty stressed, pretty like annoyed, frustrated. And so later in that night, my one of my best friends, we were gonna get some pizza. On our drive to the pizza place, we were screaming our lungs out to like all of these, like all of our favorite songs. And
Mm.
oh my God, like it felt so good. It felt so releasing. Like we weren't necessarily just like screaming, but it was like we were singing all of these songs. Well, we were like scream singing all of these songs very loudly with the windows down, and like other cars were like looking at us, and we're just like vibing, dancing in the car, like scream singing. And it was just that was just what I needed. Like in that moment of like scream singing, like what makes you beautiful, and like we were singing a five
Mm.
sauce, and then like some Sabrina Carpenter, like we were like just scream singing all of these songs, and it just in that moment, I could tell that's just what I needed, is to just like release all of that stress and just like kind of communicate this like stressful, or like through communication, release that frustrated energy, that annoying energy. Cause I really just need to like, it was like a form of ranting in a sense, but like through like
Mhm.
scream singing. And that's why it's like I love my concerts, because I'll go to concerts a lot and with my brother, and we listen to a lot of like pop punk, and so there's a lot of like circle pits, mosh pits, wall of deaths,
Mm.
and those moments are so healing for me. It's insane. Or like crowd surfing, feeling that freedom of just like being like weightless. I mean, I feel weightless. Other people are carrying me, but you know what I mean? But just feeling that freedom, feeling that openness, feeling that like just like so connected to the people around me. We're all just vibing. The music is really important to me. And just like if
Mhm.
that's what I like, when that's what I need, like it feels so good. Of course, not always, like speaking about feminine energy, like relaxing and whatnot. Like sometimes that to me is like being one with myself, and that to me is like taking my foot off the gas, because I'm just like real like not worrying about anything. Like everything outside that venue is like not on my mind. I'm just listening to the music. I'm running around in circles with these random people, and I'm just having a good time, like scream singing my songs at the top of the my favorite songs at the top of
Right.
my lungs to all these random strangers. And
Mhm.
it's such a wholesome moment in such like an incredible environment filled with so many other people that are also just connecting and also just releasing without even realizing they're releasing all this like emotional energy. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's so lovely. I don't know how I got on the topic of that, talking about the third chakra, but you get the vibes. Yeah, it's that release, and it's just that's where it comes into where like this sitting in your feminine energy, this like self-care, self-love, it's so unique, you know, and it's so different depending on like what phase you're in and what's going on in your life. It really can just like really depend. And there's so many factors that go into it. So it's really just coming to yourself and thinking, okay, like what's going to be best for me right now? Like, is saying yes
Mhm.
gonna be best for me, or is saying no gonna be best for me? Is rescheduling best? Is like taking a rest day from work best? Or like what do I need right now? And that's powerful in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that definitely just brings it all to the point of like being present, being present
Yep.
with like you were talking about being at the concert and it's like, okay, you're having so much fun because you're just present, you're in the moment
Yep.
and you're like
Yeah.
experiencing it. And that
Mhm.
is feminine energy and feminine embodiment is just being in the moment, being with your body and your experience in that moment and feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, whether it is dancing and singing and having
Mhm.
fun or if it's crying and
Yep.
screaming and being
Like, in
angry,
the
like
fetal position, crying
yeah,
possibly, like, that's a thing, like
right. And that helps. Like it all helps and it is so different from person to person and like season of life you're in and everything. And so it isn't like a one size fits all. And I think that's important to note too is that the feminine has been so boxed in.
Mhm.
And that's the opposite of what the feminine is. Again, like I said at the beginning, just bringing it back to that and like the fact that it is multidimensional and multifaceted and it's just going to change all the time. And like being comfortable with the change and the
Mhm.
transformation and just flowing with that. Like that truly is feminine embodiment and feminine energy.
Yep, and, like, choosing to see the beauty in that. choosing to see the beauty in that transformation, in that messiness, in that knowing like this messiness is happening right now, this confusion is happening right now, but you know what? This is all like I like to think of kind of like a catapult and it's or like a slingshot and it's like all this is kind of pulling me back, like weighing like these emotions are weighing me down. These emotions are kind of like feeling like they're pushing me back or I feel stuck back here, whatever it is. But I can see this like vision of the slingshot and just know in myself, like, okay, you know what? I'm just like feeling all of this and feeling this way so that I can get sprung forward
Mhm.
and like just slingshotted forward. And by feeling all of this, that's gonna allow me to lift that weight off and just whoop, go right forward into that like new version of me, that feel good energy. And yeah, it's not gonna last like forever, like because things come and go, like just like the waves of the ocean. Like just because like you were sad and then healed from that thing, it doesn't mean you're never going to be sad again. It doesn't mean just because you relaxed on Tuesday, it doesn't mean that you're good until next Tuesday. You might need to relax again on Friday. Or, and then from then you might have like 2 good weeks and then you need to like take a moment to cry again. Like it always just comes, it can come at like random times, but it's just being open and accepting that of like, you know what? It's just like whenever these feelings do come, whenever I do need to like take that step back, whenever that is, I allow myself that. I accept that it is what it is, and that's how I'm feeling. And just sit with that and allow myself to give myself what I need and just take care of myself overall. Yeah, this is such a
Mhm.
great conversation.
I know. I'm like, I could talk forever about
No,
this.
literally, I'm like, we low-key might need to do another podcast episode from here. There's so much. I love
For
talking to you
sure.
actually. Like this was such a
Oh.
good conversation. I feel like we could talk so much about so many different things. So if you like, we could totally do another podcast together because I would love that.
Yeah, I'm down. I know. I had an astrology reading a couple of weeks ago, and I've had my chart read before, but this is one of my good friends, very like trusted. And she pointed out, she's like, you're meant to yap. Like, that is such a big thing in your chart. Like, you are just meant to yap and talk all the time. And I'm like, well, perfect, because that's
I
what I
love that
do.
for you.
Yep. Yeah.
I
So
love that
definitely
for
down
you.
to do more, continue the combo, go off on many different threads. I'm like, I could truly talk about so many different things.
No, literally. We could have like a whole other topic talking just about death. Like
Oh, yeah.
just about the death and rebirth. Like, oh my golly goodness. So we'll definitely have to talk about doing another episode because I love this so much. This is so great. Do you have any last things that you want to share with the Mindful and Aware listeners about the feminine energy?
Um, gosh. I
We
mean,
talked about
just
so
like
much.
I know. We covered it all, but again, just being true to you. Like genuinely being true to you and not letting anybody tell you what being in your feminine looks like because being in your feminine is just being you. Like it's being true and authentic to you. So, I think I'll leave it at
That
that.
was so good. I love that. Yeah, we love
Mm.
authenticity. There's so much power in authenticity, staying true to
Mhm.
yourself, forgetting, like, thinking about who would you be if nobody else's, like, opinion mattered at all? Who would you be if you were the only person in the room? Who are you when you're alone? Like, think about these things. Think about who you are
Mhm.
if nobody else in the world was there, you know, and you could just be you. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so so amazing, so magical. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Okay, go ahead and plug your Instagram and your
Yeah.
like your coaching. So you do like coaching, right? You work with women.
Yeah. So I do have a membership, which is a really accessible way to do the work that I do. I do a lot of womb awakening and feminine embodiment, of course. We do a lot of like feminine archetype work, goddess work, all of that good stuff. And then I do one-to-one sessions, mentorship sessions or packages. And yeah, I'm like, what else do I do? A lot. My
Oh,
podcast, Chaos Makes Magic. Um, but yeah, my Instagram is probably the easiest place to find everything. That is at underdash it's Amanda Nicole. Yeah, that should have everything there. My link in my bio has it all. So
Perfect, and I'll put that in the description as well. So everybody go ahead and follow Amanda. She's amazing, so cool. And go ahead and follow Mindful More Pod on Instagram. I also have a TikTok that I use sometimes. And you guys will get updates when there's another episode with us together because I fear there will
Yay.
be.
Yep.
And go ahead if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe, like it, whatever you want to do, you know the vibes. And then go ahead, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to us on right now. And I will see you in the next episode, y'all. All right, bye.
Yay. Thank you.